Hey, what's up guys, it's Mario and Bambly here, and in this video right here we're gonna sketch with some markers. And yeah, we're gonna sketch with markers. I'm gonna start with a big pen, which I have right here. This is pretty standard by now. If you watch my videos, I always use this pen to get going. So let's make a rectangle like that, and we can even add some depth to this like that, and let's make something organic as well, or less sharp. That's a cool shape, and we can even add a cut line in there just like that. So now what we want to do, we want to start to render these things. So let's start with the easy part, easier part, which is this rectangle right here. Alright, so what kind of markers are we going to use? Let's see what we have here. Let's use green. I like green. So I'm gonna use these shades of markers. It is grass green, which is this dark green, and we have pale green, and then 48 is yellow green. So let's start with the yellow green, because to me it seems like it's the brightest shade of them all. So what I'm doing right now, I'm going from side to side as quickly as I can and trying not to cross this line right here. And same thing here. So I want to put my marker down where I'm going to start to sketch, where I'm going to start to draw the line. And then I put it down, like I hover over the area where I'm gonna put it down, and then I just make a quick line by going over. And before I do that, I want to move my eye, so I'm looking at this point right here. My hand is over here. I know that this is at the start point, and then I move my eyeball to look at this point right here, because when I do that, it's gonna make it easier to know exactly where to stop. And even if you stop before that, you can always fill it in on the way back. So you go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So we want to do this with all these three surfaces here. And it doesn't matter if you go over the edges or something like that. It's not the end of the world, and there's always a way to fix stuff. I mean, if you mess up, I mess up all the time, and this is going to be quite hard because we have an angle here. So I'm going to try and angle my marker so that it hits this surface in the correct angle. It works out pretty good. So here's a cool thing that I want to talk about. If you don't have a lot of markers, which a lot of us don't, we don't have a lot of markers. I have maybe, let's see, that's 36 over there, or 30, and then we have maybe 50. Yeah, okay, I have a lot of markers. But for those of us who don't have a lot of markers, we can always use the same marker to go over the same area twice. And that way, we're gonna get a different shade, which you can see right here. And this is super useful, so you don't need a lot of markers, really, to sketch something or to render products. All you gotta do is wait for one layer to dry, just a little bit, a few minutes, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and then you just go over it one more time. And you're gonna have a completely different shade of green here. Alright, so I wanna keep these highlights here because we have the light coming from here. That means that this surface right here is going to be hit like bam, straight with the sunshine or whatever lamp is up there. So now I'm going to move into the next green shade, which is this one. So I pretty much always use the broad tip of the markers. And I got to figure out now where this is going to go. Since the light is coming from here, that means that this surface right here is going to be the brightest one, obviously. And I guess the front view here, the front panel, or whatever you want to call it, is going to be darker, since it's in the shade. The sun doesn't hit this surface as much as it hits the other two. So I'm doing the same thing here. I'm going over it one more time. And when we do this, we're going to have you're going to see that the marker, the tip of the marker is going to leave marks in each corner here. I'll just fill that in with one single line like this when I'm done going over back and forth. And let's see. What do we want to do now? So we have 1, 2, 3. So this should be even darker, so I'm gonna use this for the top as well. And I'm gonna explain why in just a second. Maybe not as much, we wanna keep some light green in there still. That's because I wanna have 3 different surfaces and 3 different shades in here. So I'm gonna do, hopefully this is the correct marker that I'm gonna use now. So I wanna go over this a 3rd time because this is surface number 3. Number 1 is the brightest one, which is the one we have to our right. Number 2 is this top surface right here. And this is number 3, which is almost completely in the shade. Obviously, that's going to be the darker one. And then we can just fill in the baseline if you want to. Same thing with all markers. I can use this again, and I'm going to have a completely different shade. But I think I'm going to keep it like that. And maybe go over the top one more time. And when we're happy with that, we can pick the black marker and just start to fill in the baseline real quick. And here you can go all the way around if you want to. I do that sometimes, but I don't know if I'm gonna do it right now. Let's see how this looks. It looks kind of weird over here. So let's connect this whole thing. There we go. And I want to keep this the thickest, so I'm gonna fill it in again because I accidentally made the top, this one, a bit too thick. Alrighty, let's move on to the organic shape down here. So, same thing here. I'm just gonna start roughly with the light marker. And don't be afraid to just put the marker down. Don't think about it too much. The faster you decide to do this, the faster you're gonna learn. So don't be afraid to, you know, mess up the lines or something like that. It doesn't really matter because you can always start again, right? You have unlimited amount of paper and you have almost unlimited amount of markers, I guess. Same thing here. I want to keep the light source coming from here. And this is kind of a weird shape in my head. It's almost like a shell. And these, let me show you with a couple of section lines what I mean. So this is rounded up top here. And then it goes out a little bit here. Does that make sense? And then we have the bottom going like that. So I want to keep this surface right here. That's going to be a highlight. So I'm keeping that white. And I'm going over it one more time with a marker because I want to cover a bit more of the shell with green. That's cool. And basically, if I want to, I can stop right here. You can still see the marker and how, or the shape, what it looks like. But I'll fill in a bit more green here with a few more markers just to make this bottom part stand out a bit more like that. And I don't think we even need the darkest shade of green here, but I'm gonna see what happens if we add it anyway. Yeah, it looks kind of cool. It looks cool, so I'm gonna keep it because I can't erase it anyway. So and I'm not sure I want to add black to this. It looks kind of good. It looks good like that. So all I'm gonna do is just use the big pen to go back over the lines because some of them might have bled. But the faster you draw your lines with a marker, the lower the chance of the big line bleeding. So you want to go fast with the markers and just mess things up when you're with the markers, because the final step is anyway to just fill in the lines again with the Bic, and that's gonna like cover up the mistakes that you might have done. So it's not a big deal. But that's what I want to show you today, a few marker exercises. If you want more help with this, just let me know. I'll be happy to make some more videos on it. My name is Marwan Bambly, and I will see you next time. Let's keep it like that. And you can always explore different features and different graphics.